I was secretly dating the campus heartthrob. He made 3 rules with me: if anyone found out, we would break up immediately. The new transfer student, Oliver, confessed to me, but I was a good girl with a secret boyfriend, so I firmly rejected him. After learning the reason, Oliver's eyes reddened. If I had such a wonderful girlfriend, I'd want to tell everyone. Selena is so good. If he doesn't want to make it public, I do. I especially do. So, I very willingly made it official with Oliver. That night, my secret boyfriend spammed 10 posts on Moments. Selena, I'm not dead yet. So who gave him the right to take my place? Chapter 1. In the afternoon library, in an empty corner, Joel had only done 2 questions before he started coaxing me for a kiss. I've been so obedient today. Don't I deserve a reward? His hand pressed against the side of the table, his handsome face moving closer and closer, his lashes casting a captivating shadow. Blushing, I turned my head away. These are your own grades. Why should I reward you? He lowered his head and chuckled softly, pinched my chin, and turned my face back toward him. Because Selena has a mission to complete. Before I could say anything, scattered voices suddenly came from behind me. The next second, I was shoved away hard. My back hit the chair, the pain making it go numb. I propped myself up on the chair and sat upright. Joel had already moved to the other side of the table. His expression was distant, as if he had become another person. A group of young men and women passed by. When they noticed Joel was there too, they walked toward us. Joel, getting special tutoring from your little teacher again? Are you aiming for a graduate program at Tsinghua or Peking University? They were all friends from Joel's club. No wonder you won't hang out with us. Turns out the young couple is secretly working hard. Joel smiled, unrestrained and casual. Don't talk nonsense. If you scare my little teacher away, you'll have to compensate me with another one. His ink-dark eyes looked toward me with a teasing glint. I pinched the corner of my book and answered gloomily, The atmosphere turned a little cold. A girl walked up to Joel and punched his shoulder lightly. Joel, last time you promised to help me take a set of interview portraits. It's finally not raining today. Help me, please. Cute and playful, impossible to refuse. I had seen this girl twice before. Her name was Vanessa, Joel's childhood sweetheart. She had just returned to the country last year, cheerful and lively by nature. Joel clicked his tongue lightly and tossed aside the test paper in his hand. Fine, I can't win against you. Someone glanced at me. Joel, is it okay to just leave your little teacher behind like this? Joel shrugged, his tone indifferent. It's not like we're dating. Is there any need to stick together every day? The group left noisily. I did not know whose movement was too big, but someone knocked over the milk tea Joel had bought for me. The sweet, sticky liquid spread across the table. It soaked the review notes I had stayed up late organizing for Joel. I looked up at the window and breathed out a stale breath. Chapter 2. When Joel and I had just gotten together, he made 3 rules with me. No one could ever know that we were dating. Otherwise, we would break up immediately. His reason was that now was not the right time. As for the specific reason, he refused to say more. He only said that he would make it public when the time was right. My mom only acknowledges you as her daughter-in-law. Isn't that enough? She trusts you so much now and lets you supervise my studies. If she finds out that I secretly lent your dad such a huge sum of money, every time he mentioned that money, it felt as though someone had seized my throat, and I swallowed down every grievance, no matter how much it hurt. 2 years ago, my family went bankrupt unexpectedly, and the company was left with massive debts. The biggest creditor among them was actually Joel's family. I had secretly loved Joel for 3 years and had originally planned to confess to him after graduation. But when I looked at my parents, their faces full of despair, their hair turning white with worry overnight, I silently hid away my confession letter and changed a confession into a humble plea at the last minute. I lowered my head deeply in front of the person I liked. That day, the wind blew very softly, tearing apart a young girl's dream. Joel did not speak. He only pried open my clenched fist. Why did you write it and then not let me see it? He carefully unfolded the crumpled letter, piecing my dignity back together bit by bit. I promise you. I lifted my head, tears in my eyes, and looked at him in disbelief. Whether it's lending money, or your confession, that day, I cried until I hiccuped. while he helped me catch my breath with a pained expression. He held back his laughter. The money will come from me personally. I won't tell my mom. Go back and tell your parents not to worry either. But at the same time, he set one condition. No one could know about our relationship. Otherwise, we would break up. We became a couple that could not be made public. Even though we were in the same class, he usually sat far away from me. But in empty corners of the library, Joel unusually enjoyed the thrill of hiding from everyone. He would press me against the door outside a private KTV room and kiss me, and he would hook his fingers around my palm under the dinner table. But ever since Vanessa returned to the country, that kind of thrill had become another form of torture. I got up and threw away all the ruined notes, then packed up my books and prepared to leave. The view from the second-floor terrace of the library was wide and open. As soon as I lowered my head, I could see that they had not gone far yet. Joel leaned against a tree, his head slightly lowered. Vanessa stood on tiptoe, lifting her bright and charming face toward him. The two of them were very close, the atmosphere ambiguous. I turned my head away and left through another exit. Chapter 3. A fine drizzle suddenly began to fall from the sky. Holding my books, I turned into a convenience store, planning to buy an umbrella. There were not many people inside. A tall, slim clerk was organizing shelves near me. Remembering that I was almost out of sanitary pads in my dorm, I bought a few packs along the way. After choosing for a while, I was just about to check out when I suddenly heard an argument at the cashier. A girl shrieked, "He touched my leg! Fire him right now!" The accused clerk stood to one side, his gaze cold. It was the boy who had just been arranging shelves beside me. The store manager was sweating anxiously, bowing and apologizing while scolding the clerk, saying he would fire him and call the police to have him arrested. The girl's friends all ganged up on the young man, their insults getting uglier and uglier. I could not listen anymore. "Manager, call the police. I can be a witness." I pointed at the convex wide-angle mirror hanging in the corner. "I can prove that the clerk never touched her. On the contrary, this young lady and her friends have been harassing him and trying to stuff money into his apron." Everyone was stunned, probably not expecting that someone had seen it. The girl's friend retorted, "You're lying," I said calmly. Then checked the surveillance footage. The other side instantly fell silent. I recognized the falsely accused clerk. He was the new transfer student, Oliver. Almost no one in the whole school did not know him, because that face of his was far too good-looking. Although he himself did not seem to care much, he was withdrawn, always alone, and it was said that many people who confessed to him had been coldly rejected. The girl turned around, about to scold me for meddling. After seeing my face, she pulled off her mask and burst into laughter. I was wondering who it was. Turns out it's my brother's simp. I had not expected it either. The delinquent girl who had harassed Oliver was actually Joel's biological younger sister, Alice. She leaned close to my ear and warned me viciously, "Keep sticking your nose into other people's business, and I'll tell my brother." The spoiled, lawless little princess threatened me. "I'll tell him that you bullied me for another man. Let's see whether my brother still pays attention to you then." I curved my lips into a smile, took my phone out of my pocket, and directly dialed Joel's number. "Fine. Tell him yourself. Tell him that his own sister failed to confess to someone, then brought her girl gang to bully a classmate. You." Alice trembled with anger. "Vanessa is so good. I really don't know what my brother sees in you." As she spoke, she threw her wet umbrella at me and slammed the door on her way out. No wonder Alice had always disliked me. It turned out she had long since chosen who she wanted as her sister-in-law. I paid the bill and was just about to leave. Suddenly, a large black umbrella appeared over my head. At some point, Oliver had stood beside me, the tips of his ears slightly red. "I'm off work. I'll take you back." I took the umbrella I had just bought out of my bag. "No need. I have an umbrella." Seriously, who was spreading rumors that Oliver was cold and aloof? Chapter 4. On the way, I received a call from Joel's mother, Selena. "I heard Joel hasn't been staying at school recently and has been running off to play in some esports competition. That child doesn't care about his studies at all, whether he can get into graduate school. I can only count on you." I sneezed and shivered in the rain as I listened to his mother's instructions. As soon as I hung up, Joel's call came in. The first thing he threw at me was, "Alice said you bullied her today?" Before I had time to explain, he said again, embarrassing a young girl in public like that. What were you thinking? I was somewhat exhausted. I only stated the facts. She's young. What would it cost you to give in to her a little? All right. Let's forget it this time. We're all going to be family in the future. There's no need for you to make her cry over an outsider. My mom asked you to come over for dinner this weekend. When the time comes, apologize to her and say a few soft words. Remember to bring a gift. As he spoke, Joel transferred me a large red envelope. Someone on his end was urging him, and Joel quickly hung up. I leaned against the bus window, my head knocking against the glass again and again. The dull pain kept my mind clear. When I returned to the dorm, my roommate rushed over with her phone, her tone excited. She shoved the phone right in front of my face. Vanessa seems to have gotten together with your dream guy. I took the phone and stared at the photo on the screen, my whole body turning cold. Vanessa had posted a photo on Moments. She and Joel were on the left and right, hugging a huge plush toy as they checked in at a trendy restaurant. The caption was, "What does it feel like to have a childhood sweetheart who understands you?" My roommate continued, "This restaurant is so hard to book. I remember you finally managed to get a reservation before. Did you go?" "Not yet. Something came up at the last minute. I found an excuse and went to wash up." My heart felt so sour and swollen that it went numb. When this themed restaurant first opened, Joel had promised to go with me. He was good at claw machines and said he would help me win the biggest plush toy in the whole place. Last week, I finally managed to grab a reservation, but Joel said he had something to do for the club and could not go. I did not expect him to turn around and check in there with his childhood sweetheart. The plush toy the two of them were hugging in the photo was exactly the one I had been longing for. When I realized I had accidentally liked the post, I only found it laughable and casually unliked it. I put down my phone and went to shower. Halfway through my shower, my roommate came knocking on the door, saying my phone was vibrating like crazy. Worried there might be something urgent, she handed my phone into the bathroom. It was Joel. He questioned me, asking what I meant by liking the post and then unliking it. I did not understand. "Vanessa thinks you're being passive-aggressive toward her. Isn't it just because I went with her instead of you? She knows you like this IP too. And she even specially bought blind boxes and asked me to bring them to you." I took a deep breath and said coldly, since she knew I liked it too, "She still asked you to go with her alone?" Joel's tone instantly turned cold. "Selena, ever since Vanessa came back, you've been acting strange. She considers you in every way. Can you stop thinking of her as so bad every single time? One side is my friend of many years, and the other side is my girlfriend. When you make trouble like this, have you ever considered me?" My chest felt so stifled that I could barely breathe. If she really thought she had done nothing wrong, would she have needed to be so fragile just because I unliked a post? "Yes, I never considered you." After saying that, I hung up, turned off my phone, and went to sleep. The next day, Vanessa came to see me alone. Chapter 5. We sat down in a cafe near the school. She said Joel had not slept all night yesterday, had drunk alone the whole night, and asked whether I had argued with him. "He did not sleep all night. And you knew that too?" I let out 2 mocking laughs and asked, "Then do you know that I know. Auntie asked you to tutor him, and it's only natural for him to look after your feelings. So she did not know." She stirred the straw in her juice, her big eyes blinking. "I also know that your father is Auntie's business partner, and that he ran into trouble a few years ago. Joel lent you a large sum of money." I was stunned. "He told you that?" Vanessa lifted her chin slightly, confident and certain. "There are no secrets between him and me." She took out her phone and, right in front of me, called Joel. "Hello, Joel." She turned on the speaker. "You said last night that Selena's family is in difficulty, and that tutoring you is also to help support her household. My cousin also wants to find a tutor, and the price he's offering isn't low." Joel interrupted her, his tone carrying a trace of impatience. "Her? I'll find someone else for you. Her level really isn't that good." I asked her only because I was helping her out in passing. I took a deep breath and spoke into the phone. "Joel, from now on, there's no need for us to meet at the library anymore." The other end of the line fell silent. I did not know how long passed before I finally heard a response through gritted teeth. "Fine." Chapter 6. After separating from Joel, I went to classes as usual and went to the library as usual. At first, I was still worried that it would be awkward if we ran into each other in the library. Only after going for a few days did I realize that he had not gone there at all. I had overthought it. In the past, if I had not forced him to study, with his personality, he would never have stayed cooped up in the library for an entire afternoon. Over the past few days, I received messages from Joel from time to time. His tone carried a rare warmth that had seldom appeared before, saying good morning and good night, asking what I had for breakfast and whether I wanted milk tea. I did not reply to any of them. His attitude of acting as if nothing had happened still hurt me. After class on Friday, I was getting food in the cafeteria. A long line had formed at the window. As I was thinking about my weekend part-time job, Joel's mother called. Selena, what do you want to eat this weekend? Tell me, and I'll have the chef prepare it in advance. Auntie, I interrupted her. Joel and I broke up. The other end of the phone fell silent. After a long while, Auntie said regretfully, I see, Selena. Auntie wants to tell you something. I listened as she told me about the things Joel had hidden from me, and suddenly felt that none of it mattered anymore. My hand was suddenly empty. Someone had taken my phone from behind me. People came and went in the cafeteria. Joel stood behind me, holding my phone as he said to Auntie, Mom, we're fine. Stop worrying blindly. I'm hanging up. He did not return the phone to me immediately, with a cold face. He opened my WeChat. When he discovered that I had not blocked him, he instantly let out a sigh of relief. Joel pulled me to the side and coaxed me softly. All right, let's stop fighting. He drew me into his arms, his tone carrying a hint of grievance. We've been in a cold war for so many days, and you didn't reply to my messages. Has your anger faded now? My hand pressed against his chest as I tried hard to pull distance between us. He placed his fist in front of my eyes, then opened his palm. A bracelet flashing with a cold silver light slipped down. I heard you girls all like this brand. I chose it for a long time. Do you like it? I looked at the bracelet. Expensive enough to buy half a car, and my feelings were complicated. But what appeared in my mind was Vanessa's Moments post from yesterday. She was wearing a necklace, beautifully showing off a selfie, while the caption carried a hint of disdain. Payment for accompanying my bro to choose a gift for his girlfriend. Tell me, did I rip him off too lightly? The necklace and the bracelet before me were both full diamond pieces from the same brand and same series. My stomach churned. I took a step back and said coldly, I don't need it. Joel held the bracelet that had not been given away, and his expression darkened. Before he could speak, I continued, First, I didn't block you because I still owe you money. Joel pressed his lips together and gripped the bracelet tightly. Second, I thought we had already reached a consensus on the phone last time. We broke up. I don't agree. Joel seemed to have been stabbed by something and abruptly grabbed my wrist. Who agreed to break up? I only said we wouldn't do tutoring anymore. He took out his own phone again and opened Vanessa's WeChat. Isn't Vanessa the one you care about? As he spoke, he deleted Vanessa right in front of me. Is this enough now? It was as if this were a compromise after I had made trouble unreasonably. I clenched my fist and did not speak. He picked up my hand and, just like when he had accepted my confession back then, gently pried open my fist. When he saw the deep nail marks in my palm, his attitude softened. Vanessa and I have known each other for a very long time. Our families have been close for generations. But there is absolutely no possibility between her and me. She also dated quite a few boyfriends abroad. If we wanted to be together, we would have been together long ago. There's really no need for you to be jealous of her. Tears fell without any warning. Those words were like soft nails, driving into my heart. All this time, all the anger I had felt, all the tears I had shed, all the grievances I had suffered because of the unclear ambiguity between the two of them, they had all been defined as my own problem. Joel froze slightly and panicked. He stepped forward and hugged me. This was the first time he had ever made an intimate gesture in a place where we might run into acquaintances at any moment. His large hand gently stroked my back. All right, don't be angry. What's there to cry about? His voice was gentle, as if he were coaxing an unreasonable child. I thought of what Auntie had just said on the phone. Vanessa's mother has an incurable illness. He has been busy running around for her these days. Vanessa also came back temporarily because of this. That child Joel is soft-hearted and values old ties. When he was little, his father and I were busy with work, and he ate many meals at her house. Now that Vanessa has run into trouble, he takes it upon himself. We can only wrong Selena a little and ask her to be more tolerant. In the future, Auntie will make it up to you. If it had been before, hearing these things, I might have softened, but I had had enough. Still, I did not push Joel away immediately. On the phone, Auntie had begged me, pleaded with me, asking whether I could stay with Joel until he finished the graduate entrance exam. I could not refuse. Back then, the money that had saved my family from disaster had indeed been lent to me by Joel in his personal name. But I knew clearly in my heart, how could Auntie, who had built herself up from nothing, not have known? She did not expose me. She did not let the adolescent me be humiliated by money. She left a measure of dignity for me and my family. This kindness had to be repaid. I lowered my head. Okay, I just did not expect the day we broke up completely would come so quickly. Chapter 7. The rumor began to ferment from a blurry video. In the video, a man and a woman were taking shelter from the rain in front of a convenience store. The two of them stood very close, whispering to each other, their behavior intimate, and I was one of the people in the video. Last time, Joel had pulled me aside in public, holding my hand and hugging me. Our relationship had already spread among our classmates. Not long after, a video like this suddenly came out. The rumors that I had cheated with the transfer student and was two-timing exploded at once across all kinds of groups and forums both inside and outside school. Many anonymous IDs reveled under the gossip posts, adding fuel to the fire, and the versions became more and more outrageous as they spread. Some even said they had long since noticed something was off between the two of us. For example, Oliver, the top science scorer, had crossed more than half the campus just to take an elective course in the School of Economics where I was. As long as someone who knew me came out to speak for me, that group of anonymous IDs would swarm and attack them. Joel came to demand an explanation from me the next afternoon. He scattered a pile of photos that had never appeared online in front of me. They were all from the day we took shelter from the rain at the convenience store. The angles were taken very cleverly, making it look as if Oliver was lowering his head to smell my hair. The shooting angle was exactly the same as the photos circulating online. Someone who had appeared there that day, and photos that only Joel had and had never been exposed. It seemed this was the work of that wonderful sister of his. So you bullied my sister because of him? I did not even lift my head. Why don't you ask her first what she did at the time? Joel blurted out. She's just a little girl. What could she possibly do? Don't tell me she deliberately framed you? I put down my chopsticks. Your sister, I said word by word, has been bullying classmates with her girl gang all this time. As her older brother, did you know about this? Actually, this was not the first time Alice had done something like this. In high school, her record could already be checked, but her family had money, and it was said that everything had been settled. After entering university, she publicly confessed to the transfer student and failed, then began bribing his roommates and making trouble for him in daily life. She bragged outside, "Once he's suffered enough, I'll go save him, then won't he be completely devoted to me?" Later, I heard that Oliver simply moved out. One thing after another. Did Joel really not know? Or was he pretending not to know? My sister only wanted to get to know him. He was the one who didn't know what was good for him. I was stunned and fixed my gaze on the person I had liked for 3 years. It was as if I had never truly known this person. Since you trust her so much, why did you come to me? There's nothing between him and me, believe it or not. That's up to you. I lost my appetite and got up to leave. Joel grabbed my elbow and suddenly laughed. He took out his phone and, still right in front of me, added Vanessa back on WeChat. Then Vanessa and I don't need to avoid suspicion either. I looked at the childish Joel. Deep down, there was no ripple in my heart anymore. I only felt tired. Whatever. Chapter 8. 2 weeks later. It was the school sports meet. Aside from the traditional events, quite a few multi-person cooperative events had been added this time, such as the three-legged race. The winning team could still receive an excellent evaluation in the comprehensive quality assessment, in order to get the scholarship and repay the debt as soon as possible. I had found a partner in advance to participate, but right before the race, the other person suddenly sent me a message, saying their stomach hurt and they could not come. I could only look for a substitute on the spot, probably because they had believed the recent rumors. I went around asking, but some said they were not interested, while others looked at me twice and then ran off. Not far away, Alice and her little group of friends huddled together, giving me strange smiles from time to time. It seemed that I would not be able to compete today. A somewhat familiar boy stopped me. He was one of Joel's buddies, and as soon as he opened his mouth, he advised me to give in. Joel went out of town for a competition. Before he left, he was worried Alice might not know her limits, so he specifically asked us to look after you. Although Joel hasn't made it public, among us brothers, we all acknowledge you as our sister-in-law. I wanted to laugh when I heard that, as if being acknowledged by them as their sister-in-law was something to be proud of. Joel said that as long as you're willing to apologize to Alice face-to-face, he'll immediately arrange a partner for you. I shot him a glare and walked past him. No need. I bent down and untied the red satin ribbon for the race from my ankle. Without this evaluation item, it did not necessarily mean I would not get the scholarship. Even if I really could not get it, I would rather work harder during summer vacation than apologize to Alice. The ribbon fluttered up with the wind. Someone caught it in the wind. I lifted my head. A familiar figure stood quietly not far away. He held the ribbon and wrapped it around his fingertip. I'll do it. Oliver looked at me with a smile. Quite a few people at the school sports meet knew Oliver, and all of them went into an uproar. Am I seeing that right? Is that the transfer student, Oliver? It's him. He's actually taking the initiative to participate? Didn't they say he was extremely withdrawn? I heard the department belle personally invited him, and he rejected her to her face, said something like he wasn't interested. He looks very interested now. That girl looks a little familiar. Wait. I know. She's the one from that video. Oh my God. Could the video be true? Gossip rose and fell all around, no matter how strong my heart was. Facing the other person involved in the rumor, I inevitably became awkward. Before I had time to refuse, Oliver had already walked up to me. He knelt on one knee. I was startled and instinctively backed away. My calf was held. A warm, large palm caught the back of my knee and gently brought me forward. Don't move. He asked me to hold his shoulder, lowered his head, and helped me tie the red satin ribbon again. His movements were very gentle, as if he were wrapping up a gift. I stared at the crown of his head, my hand unconsciously lifting. So obedient. All done. Oliver lifted his head, noticed my hand hovering over his head, paused, and looked at me with deep eyes. I felt the guilty panic of being caught and hurriedly withdrew my hand. Joel's buddy looked astonished and took out his phone as if he wanted to take a photo of something. Oliver turned sideways and blocked him. From the corner of my eye, I saw Alice, who had been watching this side the whole time, stomping her feet in anger, flustered and furious. My mood instantly became much more comfortable. I punched Oliver lightly on the shoulder. You're it, teammate. First place is still waiting for us. As expected, we won the race, even though we had only practiced twice before the competition. Oliver was smart and immediately came up with a technique to keep both sides in step. When we officially started running, we were unexpectedly in sync. As we rushed toward the finish line, I was too excited. My front foot did not land steadily, and my whole body pitched forward. Oh no! My center of gravity was still on my back foot. Just as the glorious first-place winner was about to perform a faceplant on the spot, a large hand caught my waist and steadily supported me. After making sure I was standing firmly, Oliver immediately let go. He lowered his head, the tips of his ears completely red. Sorry, I said. Thank you. We spoke at the same time and smiled at each other. That evening, to thank Oliver, I treated him to dinner. Don't be polite. Order whatever you want. I boldly pushed the barbecue restaurant's menu toward him. He lowered his head and smiled, picked up a pencil, and obediently circled items. As he ordered, he also asked about my tastes. In the end, skewers filled the entire table. When I looked, more than half of them were things I liked. After 2 bottles of beer, I began hugging the bottle and tearfully complaining about the rumors from a while ago. Tell me, Aren't they ridiculous? Even if I were making up nonsense based on a picture, I wouldn't make it this absurd. They actually said you liked me, and even specially ran across half the campus to take an elective for me. What if I said, Oliver suddenly spoke, his meaningful eyes looking at me without blinking. Part of it is true. Would Selena feel disgusted? I was stunned. What? He gripped his glass of water tightly, his knuckles turning slightly white, his Adam's apple rolling up and down nervously. That day, when you took the initiative to help me, I was really happy beyond words. The young man across from me began breathing rapidly, his eyes filling with moisture. I like you. The air was filled with the smells of stir-fry, cumin, and spicy seasoning. Behind the noisy campus back gate, people came and went. I thought I had heard wrong. I shook my head, lifted my eyes, and discovered the boy in front of me was so nervous that he was about to bite through his lower lip, his skin visibly turning red. He seemed to be serious. When I thought that someone was so nervous just because he had said I like you, more than joy, I felt guilt. Sorry. I took a deep breath. I can't accept it. He lifted his head, and his eyes had already reddened. Half of that rumor is true. I sighed. I really am Joel's girlfriend. Crash. Sorry. Customer. Someone at the next table had shattered a glass. Oliver probably did not pay much attention to gossip. During that time, he had not followed any of the gossip about Joel and me at all. Our table fell silent for quite a while, until someone came to serve the food. I rambled on about the 3 rules between Joel and me. Oliver was a very good listener. The entire time, he did not cut in, did not interrupt, did not comment. He only listened quietly. I needed a listener too much. The grievances I had been unable to speak about for so long were almost suffocating me. Tears fell under the cover of drunkenness. A pack of tissues was handed in front of me. People outside are even saying I cheated, that I kept both sides hidden. But who exactly was the one who didn't let me speak? Selena. I interrupted him. Just call me Selena. Selena, if you're unhappy, why do you still want to keep going? I froze slightly. Why? Was it really because of one sentence from Auntie, at least until after his graduate entrance exam? Or was it because of the unwillingness formed by years of secret love and the grievance of not being made public, piled together? Sunk costs should not be involved in major decisions. I understood the logic. But to let go, it felt as if I were denying my past self, denying all the endurance and sacrifice. Seeing that I was upset, Oliver sighed. If I had such a wonderful girlfriend, I'd want to tell everyone. He moved from the opposite side to sit beside me and handed me a cup of warm water. Thank you. I had only taken 2 sips when I immediately choked on what he said next. Oliver said in a low voice, I can understand that you can't let go of him for now. I can wait. Or, he paused, as if he had made some kind of decision. You're so good. If he doesn't want to make it public, I do. I especially do. I was 60 or 70% drunk. I tilted my head and looked at the young man beside me. His eyes were clear, without the slightest trace of drunkenness. His face was bright red, but it was obviously not the redness of alcohol. Rather, when he realized I was looking at him, Oliver's body even trembled slightly. I've always wanted to ask. I leaned closer to him. We've only met 2 or 3 times. Why would you? Is it just because I helped you at the convenience store? Even novels would not write it this way. Love at first sight really did not make sense. There were plenty of beautiful women who liked Oliver. As if recalling fragments of memory, Oliver lowered his head and smiled, his tone becoming even gentler. Not just that, Selena. Before you ever noticed me, I had already. Chapter 9. I heard a story that was both unfamiliar and incredibly familiar. As early as my freshman year, Oliver had already seen me during an interschool basketball league match with the basketball team. I had ice water tucked in my arms, standing on the edge of the basketball court as an onlooker, not daring to take a single step forward because of the 3 rules. Although I was clearly Joel's girlfriend, I could only watch helplessly as he accepted water from other girls. Oliver had seen all of my loneliness. He took the initiative to ask me whether he could buy the water in my hands. I casually gave it to him and even cheered him on. At that time, my eyes were only on Joel, and I had not noticed the other team that had come from another school at all. Afterward, whenever he had a chance to come to our school, He would intentionally or unintentionally search for my figure. Selena is good at studying, sincere to others, and full of a sense of justice. I'm not the first person you helped. Even if you were deceived, you would only smile. And the next time you encountered something like that, you would still step in. It's perfectly normal to fall for you. His praise made me feel strangely embarrassed. You're exaggerating too much. I lowered my eyes. He suddenly opened a new pair of chopsticks, held one end himself, and handed the other end to me. Then is Selena willing to like someone else? Is Selena willing to go public with me? I don't mind the existence of the one underground. I was shocked by his words. I could not understand it, so I could only express respect. If someone liked a person, how could they bear to share them with someone else? Unless he had a strong sense of not being worthy and felt that what he could hold on to was already the best. I held the other end of the chopsticks. Following the chopsticks, I held his hand, but I mind. His whole body trembled, and moisture welled up in his eyes. Wait. I took out my phone and opened Joel's WeChat. For the part of what I owed him that I had not yet paid off, I transferred it all to him at once, then left one sentence. The account is settled. Let's break up. Then I sent Auntie a message. I'm sorry, Auntie. After saying that, I realized the person next to me was gone. After a while, Oliver came back listlessly. I paid the bill. I won't pester you. I held his hand. I mind. So, I raised my phone. I broke up. My vision went dark. Oliver opened his arms and pulled me into his embrace. Then he immediately let go. Sorry. I don't know you very well yet. Why don't we try first? He excitedly held my hand and refused to let go for a long time. So long that my palm began to sweat. Seeing this trial period boyfriend who had such a lack of security, I sighed in resignation. I held his hand and used his phone to take a photo. If you want to make it public, you can. Before I finished speaking, I saw Oliver's latest moments post. The attached picture was the one we had just taken. There was also one sentence, 2 people, 3 legs, 1 heart. Chapter 10. Joel missed his flight back to North City that night. Last time, because he had fought with his girlfriend and deleted his childhood sweetheart. He had almost been cut off by her. He could only use gifts to apologize. If he had not been bringing Vanessa things from the duty-free shop, he could have made it in time to attend the school sports meet with Selena. After hearing that she had signed up for the 3-legged race, Joel had never planned from the beginning to let her partner participate normally. Unexpectedly, he missed the flight, so he could only temporarily ask his buddies to look after things. He had also bought Selena an expensive bottle of perfume from the duty-free shop. The sales assistant asked him what kind of scent his girlfriend usually liked. For a moment, he actually could not answer. He could only ask the sales assistant to pick the most expensive bottle. Only then did he realize that the care he put into his girlfriend was not even 1/10 of what she put into him. He had grown used to Selena revolving around him. In any case, as long as he appeared, she would cling to him. Why would he need to spend energy understanding her? But during the recent few Cold Wars, after Joel was scolded by his mother, he also realized that things seemed to have gone a little too far. But regarding Vanessa's matter, he also had his own difficulties. Vanessa's father, already over 50, had cheated with an intern in her early 20s at the company. After the two quickly transferred the assets, her father immediately filed for divorce. Her mother could not accept it all at once and went mad. She even mistook him, the person who had often eaten at her house when he was little, for her daughter's boyfriend. His childhood sweetheart cried and begged Joel not to expose it. Her mother had finally recognized him, and she was afraid of upsetting her. The incident had happened too suddenly, so they could only wait until Vanessa's mother's mental state improved before clarifying it. He did not expect that during that time, he would meet a girl who made his heart move. On one side was the childhood sweetheart who had once been kind to him, and on the other side was the girl who loved him deeply. He chose to make his girlfriend endure it. In any case, they still had a very, very long lifetime ahead of them. After finishing the competition, he took a red-eye flight back to North City overnight. This Cold War between him and Selena had lasted too long. It was time to make up. Before boarding the plane, he sent his flight information to his girlfriend in advance. Just as he had before. In the past, He had also flown all over the country like this, competing everywhere. No matter how late the flight was, Selena would personally come to pick him up. This time should be the same. Before takeoff, Joel turned off his phone and fell asleep in satisfaction. When he arrived in North City, the sky was dark and dim. He waited at the airport exit for a very long time. Still, he did not see Selena. Had she fallen asleep? Only then did Joel take out his phone. On the screen, there was only a large transfer and a single message. Joel stood in the cold, deserted terminal, his whole body chilled to the extreme. Break up? He immediately called his girlfriend, only to discover that this time he had really been blocked. He no longer cared whether he would wake his buddies and called everyone he knew who knew Selena. Everyone said his sister-in-law was not there, and they had not seen her either, until Alice tearfully sent him countless messages. He casually opened them, and his pupils violently constricted. Alice cried in the messages, "My dream guy is taken." She also attached a screenshot of a Moments post. In the photo, a couple's hands were clasped together. Joel recognized that fair, delicate hand. At the base of the thumb was a red mole he could not be more familiar with. Chapter 11. Early in the morning, my roommate dragged me out of my dreams. "You, that guy." She pointed toward the balcony. "It seems like he waited downstairs for you all night." I lifted a corner of the curtain and looked down. Joel was sitting on the steps opposite the dorm, with a suitcase beside him and cigarette butts piled at his feet. As if sensing something, he suddenly raised his head. I immediately dropped the curtain. My roommate asked, "Your boyfriend? Did you two fight?" I shook my head. "Not anymore." Only later did I hear that last night. After Joel saw Oliver's official announcement on Moments, he completely exploded with anger. That night, he posted 10 moments in a row. "Selena, I'm not dead yet. So who gave him the right to take my place?" Although he deleted them very quickly, someone still took screenshots and sent them to me. I only found it funny. Back then, he had always warned me that I was not allowed to make it public, and that if I did, we would break up immediately. And now, Joel began appearing in front of me frequently. I did not know where he had dug up my class schedule, but he attended my classes even more actively than his own. One time, I came out of the library, and heavy rain began falling from the sky. Oliver came to pick me up, and we just happened to run into Joel and Vanessa walking from the other end of the school path. Our eyes met through the rain. Vanessa glanced at my hand clasped with Oliver's and clicked her tongue lightly. So what they said in the group was all true. "Joel, you're the only one heartbroken." She already. Smack! Before I could say anything, Joel suddenly closed his umbrella and threw it at Vanessa's feet. "Go back by yourself." After saying that, he turned and rushed into the rain. Vanessa glared at us twice, then picked up the umbrella from the ground in a miserable state and chased after Joel. The sound of rain rustled softly. Oliver and I stood in the rain, under one umbrella. I asked him softly whether he was unhappy. Recently, Joel had been appearing frequently. I did not care, but it was impossible for Oliver not to care. In the end, he only wiped the raindrops from my face and said tolerantly, "You're so good." It's normal that he regrets it. I looked at the gentle Oliver and always felt that something was a little strange. Chapter 12. As the short holiday approached, a friend said they had organized a camping trip. They said we could bring our partners and asked whether I could help make up the numbers. After thinking about it, I decided to bring the new family member along, but only after getting on the bus did I discover that Joel was there too. Not only was he there, but Vanessa was also there, sitting beside him. I turned back and glared at our mutual friend. He spread his hands and whispered, "He sponsored it." All along the way, the two people in front talked and laughed, flirting with each other. I was too lazy to pay attention and only felt a little carsick. Oliver noticed quickly. He got up and went around borrowing motion sickness medicine from others, then let me lean on his shoulder to rest. He even took off his jacket and draped it over me. In the past, whenever I got carsick, it was very hard for me to fall asleep. Today, I actually slept blissfully the whole way. When I woke up, I discovered that Oliver had maintained the same posture the entire time. His shoulder was probably numb from being used as my pillow. I felt a little guilty. Before getting off the bus, I reached out and rubbed his shoulder twice. He suddenly smiled, then abruptly covered both his head and mine with his jacket. Can I exchange it for a different reward? Under the jacket, our breaths intertwined. The lotus bud had just revealed its pointed tip, and already a dragonfly had landed on top. After getting off the bus, neither of us dared to look at each other's faces, which were red as monkey butts. Naturally, we also missed Joel's face on the side, black as the bottom of a pot. The daytime of the camping trip passed quickly. Night fell. Everyone sat around the campfire, talking intimately. Someone suggested, "Why don't we play Never Have I Ever?" After several rounds, one couple only had one chance left and decided to burn their bridges. "We haven't kissed today. Anyone who has kissed, fold one finger," accompanied by a round of booing. Pairs of couples each folded down one finger. I glanced at Oliver. The jumping firelight reflected his handsome side profile. His features were deep, his brows and eyes lowered. His cheeks were flushed with restless red, and the tips of his ears looked as if they were about to drip blood. We folded down one finger at the same time. Today, on the bus, under that jacket, we had kissed. This announced that the trial period for my boyfriend had ended early. A sharp gaze swept over. I lifted my head and met Joel's sinister eyes. Chapter 13. After the bonfire party ended, I returned to the tent alone. There were many mosquitoes and insects in the mountains, and I had the kind of constitution that especially attracted bugs. So Oliver went to a nearby farmhouse to ask for mosquito-repelling tools. A tall figure was reflected in front of my tent. I pulled open the tent, only to find that it was Joel. "Selena, let's talk." "There's nothing to talk about." I shrank back into the tent and was about to shake him off. Joel seemed to have expected that I would struggle, relying on the difference in our builds. He lifted me out of the tent like a little chick. He began rambling on about his difficulties and his regrets. Seeing that my face remained expressionless, he dropped to his knees with a thud. My heart shook, but I did not feel moved in the slightest. When I raised my eyes, I saw Oliver walking over with a red plastic bag in his hand. I immediately shook off Joel's restraint, but he refused to let go. Oliver had already arrived beside me. He took my other hand and warned Joel to let go. I was caught in the middle, the two of them secretly exerting force from the left and right. I called out softly, "It hurts." Oliver immediately let go, but Joel still refused to release me. I instantly lost my balance, and my whole body fell backward. Just as I was about to fall to the ground, the expected pain did not come. I lowered my head and looked. I had actually landed right on Joel, and immediately after that, there was a crack, a very crisp sound. Joel cried out in agony. "Ah, my leg!" Inside the tent, other than a few scrapes, I was fine, but someone else was not doing so well. A group of people rushed around in a panic and sent him to a hospital in the city overnight. Under the swaying light blown by the night wind, Oliver carefully applied medicine for me. His expression was serious, his thin lips pressed tightly together. To ease the atmosphere, I deliberately talked about some lighthearted topics. He suddenly threw down the cotton swab and hugged me tightly. I asked gently, "What's wrong?" He did not speak. He only buried his head in the hollow of my shoulder. Nothing. His whole state was very off. That night, he coaxed me to sleep before leaving. When I woke up the next day, I discovered that he had not left even half a step. Instead, he had leaned by my bedside and sat there the entire night. I softly called his name. He rubbed his eyes. The area under them was dark, and they were bloodshot, as if he had stayed up the whole night. I touched his haggard face. "What exactly is wrong? What happened? Can't you tell me?" A tear fell onto the back of my hand, scalding hot. Without any warning, my heart tightened, and I pulled him into my arms. For the first time, Oliver took the initiative to tell me about himself. It was his childhood trauma. At that time, his mother worked in another city. Oliver had not seen her for a long time, and on the phone, he told her to come back quickly. It happened to be the peak period before the holiday. As a result, on her way back, there was a major multi-vehicle pileup on the highway. From then on, Oliver learned restraint and learned to hide what he truly wanted. If you hold too tightly, you'll break it. If you like something too much, you'll lose it. So earlier, when Joel was pulling at me, he had let go immediately. After hearing this, my heart felt both sour and swollen. I held Oliver's hand in return and intertwined my fingers with his. You can hold me tightly now. I lifted my head and kissed his chin. I won't break. The back of my neck was taken over by a burning hot palm. My breath was instantly stolen. I felt liquid wetting my face and my lips. Chapter 14. After we returned from camping, the school group chats suddenly began spreading rumors that I had been ambiguous with 2 boys during the camping trip, and that there had been a huge commotion in the tent in the middle of the night. They even attached a video. I opened the video, watched only 2 seconds, then closed it. It was actually an AI-generated explicit clip. The face was my face, and the filming location was also the camping area from that time. Other than that, everything was fake. This time, I could no longer tolerate it or indulge them. Less than 24 hours after the video was leaked, I completed a series of steps including finding a lawyer, calling the police, preserving evidence, and submitting evidence, until Joel came to beg me to let his sister off. The rumor post had been instigated by Vanessa and posted by Alice. Once the IP was checked, everything became crystal clear. It involved the spread of explicit AI face swap content, and Alice was already over 18. She would be severely punished. I took out a bulging red envelope and handed it to Joel. This is the interest on the money I borrowed from you. Joel stood there, silently looking at me, pain flashing through his eyes. I took a step back. From now on, we each go our own way. After saying that, I turned and left. It was raining outside. Oliver was leaning against the corridor, his sharply defined side profile cold and distant. Hearing my footsteps, he raised his head and looked at me. His eyes warmed in an instant. Oliver ran over with an umbrella, not letting me take another step. He tilted the umbrella toward me, not caring at all that his shoulder was getting wet. The rain grew heavier, but I would never be drenched again. Chapter 15. On the day we took graduation photos, Oliver wore a formal suit and held a bouquet of flowers, walking toward me under everyone's gaze. Just like when we had first met, he knelt on one knee. The classmates who had originally been dispersing after the photos stopped one after another and looked toward us. Oliver nervously swallowed and opened the black velvet box with trembling hands. Just as I picked up the ring inside, another tall, upright figure suddenly walked toward me. The same formal suit, the same bouquet of flowers, the same kneeling on one knee. It was Joel, also wearing a ring, also kneeling on one knee. The surroundings instantly exploded into chaos. I rubbed Oliver's simple plain band, then glanced at the large diamond ring in Joel's hand and smiled at him. For marriage, I already have someone in mind. As for being my lover, do you want to try? Joel froze. My hand rested on Oliver's shoulder, and my smile was bright. As long as he nods, maybe I can leave you a place as the side piece. When Joel heard this, he was both angry and embarrassed. He did not dare question me, so he could only vent his anger on Oliver beside him. You'd agree to that? Oliver said calmly. Why not? As long as Selena likes it. Joel still wanted to say something, but I put the ring back into his velvet box. With a snap, I closed it. Sorry. My boyfriend doesn't mind, but I mind. I don't want him to suffer even the slightest grievance. You should be able to understand what it feels like not to be made public, right? Joel's mind buzzed. The boomerang from that day struck him so hard that his whole body went weak. Extra, after marriage. Chapter 1. My wife had a little secret. She was avoiding me. In the past, as long as I coaxed her a little and acted spoiled, soft-hearted as she was, she would be willing to be happy with me until dawn, even if in the end she scratched me like a little kitten. In my eyes, she was unbearably adorable. But last night, I had just touched her waist and had not even opened my mouth before she kicked me off the bed. A floor without my wife, how is that any different from the cold palace? Sitting by the bed, I thought for a long time. Had my skills declined? Had my charm decreased? Or had she discovered my secret? Chapter 2. I had told her that I fell in love with her at first sight during the inter-school league match. Actually, that was not true. In high school, her essay was the model essay for the entire grade. Every time the homeroom teacher read her writing aloud in class, I listened especially carefully. In 800 words, she wrote about her childhood, the beauty of the 4 seasons, and the people and things around her. What kind of eyes did she have? To see life as something so lovely? After entering university, I worked part-time at a convenience store. Once, a group of boys from the T University basketball team had just finished training and came in to drink cold beverages and enjoy the air conditioning. As they talked, the boys bragged to one another. Someone mentioned, "Joel recently received a love letter." Can you believe it? People still write that stuff these days. Amid everyone's jeering, the love letter was read aloud in public. Every time a sentence was read, that group of people burst into laughter. After hearing 2 lines, I recognized it. It was her writing style. It was her letter. Across the shelves, I saw that boy who did not know how lucky he was, reading while smiling smugly. He was indeed good-looking. Unfortunately, he was rotten to the core inside. Only after they left the convenience store did I realize that my fingernails had already dug deep marks into my palm. Her love letter was like fine rain, delicate and moving. What a pity that rain had fallen into a filthy gutter. Chapter 3. After returning, I took the initiative to join the basketball team and represented my own school at T University's inter-school league match. Very soon, I got what I wanted and saw her on the basketball court. After asking around, I learned that that idiot actually refused to make it public that he had a girlfriend. If it were me, I would want to cover my whole body with her marks. You ask why I wouldn't put marks on her body instead? What a joke. She only needed to exist beautifully. To me, that was already enough. I liked being stained by her. I liked the feeling of being possessed by her alone. That day, after the school sports meet ended, under her drunken gaze, I boldly confessed. My heart was about to jump out of my chest. I thought she would reject me, and I had already prepared myself to be despised. But she did not. She took the initiative to break up with that filthy gutter. I had bet correctly. That night, in the end, I still could not hold back my tears. But those were tears I had long been waiting to shed. I had actually, truly obtained someone so wonderful. But now, she suddenly had a little secret. Had she met someone more suitable? Someone she liked more than me? My rationality was about to short-circuit. If she wanted to leave, I should probably bless her. Then I would find a place and spend the rest of my life alone. Oliver. Slender fingers lifted my chin. What are you thinking? Why do you have that expression? Did something happen at the company? I shook my head and took out a jade bracelet I had won at auction last week. No, we just completed a round of financing. Everything is going well. This is a gift. Her brows and eyes curved, and she immediately put it on. It looked like she liked it terribly much. After looking at it from side to side for a while, she reluctantly took the bracelet off again. What's wrong? You don't like it? She frowned slightly and muttered, I can wear it now, but if I swell up later and can't take it off, that'll be troublesome. I smiled and hugged her. It's fine if you can't take it off. We'll break it and get a bigger, more expensive one. She smacked the back of my hand where it rested against her lower abdomen. No, we have to save money. Otherwise, this little money-devouring beast will eat us into bankruptcy in the future. She gently placed my hand on her belly. A faint beat reached straight into my palm. My heart instantly skipped a beat. Oliver, you're going to be a father. I hugged her tightly, tears falling. Why do you still love crying so much? She turned back and kissed my eyelids. I buried myself in the hollow of her shoulder. The familiar fragrance lingered around my breath, and I gradually relaxed. At the same time, through brainwaves, I warned that little one I had not yet met again and again. You'd better behave and not torment my darling. Otherwise, I'll have to properly research how a man can give birth for his wife.